Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive into the deep end of Blender's dynamic paint. Don't worry, I'll be your trusty 3D lifeguard, and we'll keep it fun and floaty. Today, we're conjuring up some sweet, convincing water ripples using the dynamic paint in Blender. It's easier than teaching a cat to swim, I promise. Before we get all wavy, let's make sure we have a playground. Think of it as setting up the kiddie pool, but in 3D. Open Blender 4.3.2. This is kind of essential, unless you plan on making ripples in your imagination, which is also an option, but probably less useful. By default, Blender gives you a cube. Let's be honest, nobody wants to see a cube ripple, unless you're some kind of cube enthusiast, in which case, no judgment. So select the cube and press X, then delete, or click delete and press Shift plus A, hover over mesh, and choose plane. This will be our canvas for the watery magic. Now press S to scale it up a bit. Let's make it a decent sized pond, not a puddle. A scale of 10 might be good. Hit tab to switch into edit mode on the plane, make sure all the vertices are selected, and right click and choose subdivide. In the bottom left options pop-up that appears, choose number of cuts and set it to 50. This is the most important step. You want a ton of divisions in order to have proper ripples. Now we need something to cause the ripples. Press Shift plus A, hover over mesh, and choose UV sphere. This is going to be our raindrop. Scale it up a bit by pressing S. Move it above the plane in the Z axis by hitting G to move, then Z to move it up the Z axis. Move it far enough away that it won't interfere with the plane. Now we will animate this object to drop into the water. Select the object, move to the first frame in the timeline, and then hit the I key. On the menu, click location. Now move to a point in the timeline about 10 to 20 frames into the future and move the sphere down into the plane. Hit the I key and select location again. Select all keyframes, then press Shift plus E and select make cyclic. Now you have a basic animation of the raindrop going into the water. Let's get dynamic. This is where the fun really starts. We're about to make things dance. Make sure you've clicked on your plane and it's highlighted. In the bottom right of the screen, you'll find the properties panel. Click the physics tab. It looks like a little planet. Select dynamic paints. If you don't see it, your Blender might be upside down. If you have trouble finding this button, search dynamic paint in the search bar. Select the plane as the canvas and change type to canvas and click on add canvas. Select the sphere object you added earlier. In the physics tab, click the dynamic paint button again. Change type to brush. Now the brush object is connected to the canvas. Click the plane again. Set the surface type to waves. This is where the magic happens. Under the waves section, let's tweak some stuff. The defaults might not always create the prettiest ripples. Alright, we've done the setup. Now let's watch some waves roll in. Move to the first frame on your timeline. Press spacebar to play. Observe the ripples, marvel in your amazing 3D knowledge, and give yourself a pat on the back. You've done a great job so far, and you, my dear student, get to become a ripple whisperer. Experiment with the wave settings. Lower the damping to make the ripples travel further. Increase the resolution for more detail. But remember, this is a trade-off with your computer's performance. Try different shapes. Animate more objects hitting the water. Troubleshooting tips. No waves? Double check you have the surface type set to wave and that the brush object is set up correctly. Make sure the subdivisions on the plane are high enough, and there you have it. You're now equipped to create mesmerizing water ripples in Blender. Practice, experiment, and most importantly, have fun with it. Remember, 3D is a journey, not a destination, so don't be afraid to get your hands a little wet with creativity. If you get stuck, just ask. Your personal 3D tutors is always here, or at least until I run out of coffee. Now go make some waves.